How do you spell Elad?
E-L-A-D.
E-L-A-D.
Yeah. Although when I try to reserve places for restaurants in London, I usually just say James. It's easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bob. Yeah.
Okay. So shalom, and thank you for speaking to us. It's a pleasure, and as I said, I really love the movie. And when I saw it, I mean, it is action-packed, and there's a story about the very unique relationship between father and daughter. But it seems like you were trying to take a criticized glance at the state of the United States today, especially with the first scene where she can buy bullets but not alcohol, and with different societies inside this big society. Is that something that you took in mind? Was that on purpose?
I think, the first thing you see is her, that, as you mentioned, she can't get cigarettes. She's too young, but they'll sell her bullets, which is ironic, and it does indicate a big problem. But, and that has a wit to it, a strange kind of wit. It's like laughing at yourself as a culture in a weird way. So it goes from there, and then the characters develop. I just love the characters. I love the director, so.
And I have to ask you, because when you first see John Lenk in the movie, he sits in this AA meeting.
Yeah.
And I have to ask, how much of Mel Gibson is in John Lenk, and maybe vice versa?
Oh gosh, yeah. We've all had. I've had to deal with that issue myself. So I'm in a 12-step program. It's part of my life. So I understand that. It's interesting. I think the guy's a biker, and I had studied bikers and bike gangs, and the rituals they went through, just by chance because of another project I was developing. That never happened, but I did all the research on those guys and who they are and what they do and how they behave. So, and prison, going to prison and the whole deal. So, in a weird way, I'd done the research before.
Reading some of the reports and news items about this movie, they keep saying Mel Gibson is back. Is that something that concerns you or upsets you in any way?
No. No, it's all right. I have taken a bit of a hiatus, but it's good to sort of get back and strut your stuff again. And I think good in this, like you mentioned the Americana aspect of this film, I thought it was good that it was Jean-Francois's perspective from the outside looking at it. That sort of gave it a little kind of an off-kilter twist, that perspective that you don't normally see. I like that.
Did you learn something new? As you said, you did some research and working about this movie. Did you learn something new about maybe the different societies, about the United States, about us as a whole?
Yeah. Learn something else? Nah. I don't know. It makes you introspective about who you are, and it makes you examine your own identity and how others might view it. But I wouldn't say that I came away sort of with a degree in, life as an American or anything.
Yeah.
Sort of, I too was from the outside. I mean, I was born in the United States, but I lived so long overseas that I had a very interesting perspective on the place myself.
Well, and it's an interesting time in the United States to be
For
asking
sure.
about that.
Absolutely.
Everything that's happening. And Mel, I have to ask you, coming from Israel, I know that the story and the incident that you have is long behind us, and you put it long behind you. Is there something that you still feel present, or is it really long behind you?
Oh no, it's like an old story, like 10 years old. And then, I've made all the necessary mea culpas and made amends where I could. And I think it's all good. And people have been very gracious, I have to say. So, no complaints. I worked with an actor from your country in the last film I directed, called Ori Pfeffer.
Oh yeah, I know.
Ori. You know Ori?
Yeah.
He was great. He played in the film I just directed.
And you have a lot of fans in Israel. I know a lot of people in Israel are really curious and interested in seeing this movie. And as I said, I really had a very good time. I loved it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.